Welcome to Woo Woo with Rachel Dratch, the podcast that explores the unexplained with humor and curiosity. Hello and welcome to Woo Woo with Rachel Dratch, here with my dear friend, so happy to see her today, Irene Bremis. Hi, Irene.
Hi, Rachie.
Ooh, I'm Rachie.
You're Rachie because I miss you so much, sweetie.
Okay, Rachie and sweetie. And we are so happy to be joined by a very interesting guest today. Irene is especially excited today. I'm generally excited. But we have professor, author, and podcast host herself, Caroline Bicks, on the show. Hi, Caroline.
Hi. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
So Caroline is a scholar on many topics. First of all, she's a professor of Shakespeare, primarily at University of Maine, right? At Orono.
Yep.
But also, she has a new book coming out all about Stephen King, and it's called Monsters in the Archives. And she got to take a deep dive on the archival materials of Stephen King, some of his first drafts, rough drafts. She got to meet him and take a sort of a scholar's journey with him. They're both up there in Maine. So we're talking largely about her new book.
Up there.
Somewhere up there in Maine. We'll find out the particulars.
Past Portland. That's all you need to know.
Portland.
Everyone's like, I know Portland. I'm like, yeah, keep going. Like 2.5 hours.
And she's here to talk about her new book, Monsters in the Archives. And we're all excited to talk about that also because Irene is naturally a huge Stephen King fan. She loves horror, but she loves Stephen King. She knows a lot more about him than I do, actually. So she might be leading the charge on a lot of this.
And a lot of ADD all over the place. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, Caroline, we're so happy to have you here. And so we're going to get into Stephen King, horror fiction, and even a little bit of, maybe I'm going to go into some woo-woo of Shakespeare, because we've got a Shakespearean scholar here. So, Caroline, where do we begin? Your book is available April 21st. If you're a Stephen King fan, you are going to want to take a dive into Monsters in the Archives, because it is the nitty-gritty of his whole process. Each chapter is a deep dive into many of his books, and we're going to get all into it. So, Caroline, and also, I'm just blurting it all out now. But also, I love that you shared some of your childhood experiences, your experiences with being scared as a kid of, what's in the closet and under the bed and all that. Yeah. And even a ghost sighting yourself.
And even a ghost. This whole project, this whole journey, this whole thing is so cuckoo woo-woo. Like how I ended up in rural Maine, it's like how I spent my summer vacation, but it's like how I spent my 50s now. It's like So I was a tenured professor of Shakespeare at Boston College. I had spent 15 years there on the faculty. I could have just coasted my way to retirement there. But this job came up. It's the Stephen E. King Chair in Literature at the University of Maine. So I was like, well, I love Stephen King. I'm a fangirl for him, and I love Shakespeare, and they were looking for a Shakespearean. So I was like, sign me up. So I tried out for the job. Tried out as if it's like an audition. That would be funny if you're like, and now here's my comic monologue. Yeah. Right. And so it was because I got this position that, it wasn't till 4 years in, because they were all like, don't think you're going to meet him. You're not going to meet Stephen King. I'm like, all right, whatever. That's cool. Like, this is a great job. I'm happy to move here and have his name attached to me, whatever. Yeah. And then 4 years in, I got a call at home. He's like, hey, it's Stephen King. I'm like, actually, he was like, it's Steve King. I'm like, oh, hey, Steve. Hi. Anyway, so that began a really nice working relationship. And because of that, I felt like I could ask him and Tabitha, because all of his manuscripts were recently collected and attached to the back of their home in Bangor, which I don't know if you've seen it. If you haven't been there, you should see it.
Only the picture.
It's a tourist site all the time. Anyway, they had just put together a climate-controlled space for all these really valuable manuscripts, and they hadn't let anyone in yet. And I was like, well, if I'm not meant to be the person in there, then I don't know who is. So I was like, I asked them if I could spend my sabbatical year in there. They said yes. Unbelievable. I'm so grateful. And I got to spend a year just reading those 5 drafts of the 5 books that had scared me the most when I was a kid. And that was really all I knew was that I just wanted to go in there and see how he'd crafted it, how he'd done it, and why they were still sticking in my head, 40 years later.
Right. And so just for starters, actually, let's take it back to when you were a kid and you talk about your first intro to a Stephen King book.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is like, you got to go back to the 70s when nobody cares what you're doing. Like, you're just like free ranging. And so I was in the, so actually most of my encounters with Stephen King books were because my older siblings just had them lying around and I just took them. But the first one was the public library here in Maine, where we used to come in the summer, Castine's Public Library. And I saw the cover of Night Shift. And it was, I don't know if you remember it, but it's the one with Irene might, because she's a fan, like with the gauze hand with the eyes on it, like staring out at you. And I was like, oh, what's that? And I took it and then I started reading it. And it's a collection of 20 of his short stories. It's his first collection of short stories. It came out originally in 1978. I found it in 1979 when it was in its paperback version. And the sixth story in it is The Boogeyman, which is hands down, in my opinion, like the scare. Maybe it's because I read it when I was 12, but I was like, what is this? And I still can't sleep next to an open closet because of that story. So that was my first encounter.
Right. And then did you seek out his books after that?
Yeah. So then I just started devouring them. Like I clearly hadn't learned my lesson. So I was like, give me more. And then, and part of it again was my age, so I was like, but then the next one was Carrie, and that was in my school library. So
the opposite of Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, by the way.
100%.
100%.
100%. It's like,
yes.
Hey, guess what? You're going to get your period in the shower. Everyone's going to be looking, and you're not going to know what it is. And your mother's going to shove you in a closet because of it and tell you you're a whore. I mean, it's like it's the worst period story ever. You're right. It's the
it's the anti.
It's Me, Margaret. Yeah. So that, and like I was in the 7th grade. I was waiting for my period, and I was like, so that was a whole other horror. Then it was like The Shining and Salem's Lot, and then Pet Sematary. So those are the 5 that I ended up focusing on.
Yeah.
Ironically, though, once you did menstruate, when I started menstruating, I hate to circle back to that, but then it was like apocalyptic and Armageddon, right? So there was so much visceral psychology to everything he wrote. Like I could be here for hours and days on end.
That's why that's why his stories endure, is because it's not about the monsters. It's about like he just taps in to your deepest fears that we're all going to face, right?
We're all going to face.
Not everyone's getting their period, but it's like everyone's going to worry maybe about, am I going to get to go to the prom, or like, do people like me?
Right. It's either going to be something like that, or the way he weaponizes like just Maine in general, and how he goes. I love his tweets for a very specific reason, because you could just see everything that's in his psychology and how he uses spaces to vilifies them and weaponizes them. It's incredible.
Yeah. But he also loves them. Like, that's the thing.
Exactly.
Like, because he's a Maine bred, born. I mean, so one of my favorite conversations I had with him when I was working on the book, and I was so grateful. I was so lucky. I was like, I can't believe this is happening, first of all. Like, what? He's just going to talk to me?
Me and Steve.
I can't talk to Shakespeare, but I can talk to Stephen King. I can be like, hey, what were you thinking when you decided to do this? Or what? But anyway, I had one of my favorite conversations was about his hometown that he moved to when he was 11 of Durham, Maine, which is what Salem's Lot is based on. And he hadn't, his father had left the family when he was 2, and so they had moved all around the country. And it really wasn't until he was 11 that he really put down roots in Maine. And like he was so in love with that town. He was telling me how much he fell in love with Durham, Maine. And I went and saw Durham, and I was like, that's a scary ass town. Like, oh. So it's like he loves it, but he also hated it at first, And you can feel that in Salem's Lot. Like, it's like, ooh, I get it.
The old adage, you are what you eat, rings very true to all of us. Personally, I'm always looking to keep my protein intake up with an on-the-go protein snack that tastes good but helps me live intentionally too. And I found it with Mosh protein bars. Mosh, which you may have heard about on Shark Tank, was founded by Maria Shriver and her son, Patrick Schwarzenegger, with a mission to spark a conversation about brain health through food, education, and research. Mosh protein bars are made with ingredients that support your brain and body, like ashwagandha, lion's mane, and omega-3s. Plus, Mosh is the first and only food brand boosted with Cognizant, a premium form of acetylcholine that helps support focus, memory, and mental clarity. And now you can save on Mosh while making your wellness routine effortless. Get 25% off plus free shipping on your first 15-count variety pack, and then 20% off for life on your monthly subscription. You can swap flavors anytime based on what you like best. Also, Mosh donates a portion of the proceeds from every order to the Women's Alzheimer's Movement because 2/3 of Alzheimer's patients are women, and Mosh is working to close that gap. It's more than just a protein bar. It's brain fuel with purpose. And if you've listened to any of our episodes where Irene has talked about what food did for her health, oh my gosh, you know that we take this seriously. So why not add in stuff for your brain as well, right? And Mosh tastes great. First of all, my favorite of the day is peanut butter chocolate crunch. I love the crunchy texture. But they all taste great. There's 9 delicious flavors, including plant-based options in chocolate chip cookie, hazelnut chocolate chip, and peanut chocolate chip. So find your favorites, build your boxes, or keep things fresh with a variety pack. Mosh bars are the best way to customize your health while giving back. Head to moshlife.com/woo-woo and subscribe today to get 25% off your first variety pack and 20% off your monthly subscription with code WOOWOO. That's 25% off your first pack and 20% off your subscription of brain-boosting bars delivered straight to your door. Start building brain health into your everyday with Mosh bars. Thank you, Mosh, for sponsoring this episode. Tell us about your first meeting with him, and then as we go on about I love the stuff about the manuscripts and how carefully his wordplay is such part of his writing. Yeah. And then I loved the part in your book about, it's throughout, but I just mean seeing his little changing of words and playing with words and stuff like that. But tell us about your first meeting with him and impressions of him as a person and all that.
So, I was obviously scared because I'm a shy person. I'm like, and he's so larger than life. But he really put me at ease. So when we had that phone call, and I was like, oh, okay. I was like, okay, would you be willing to come to campus? Like, we had just experienced COVID. We'd gotten through our COVID year of teaching. Everything sucked. And I was like, these students, because, he's an alum of the University of Maine and of our English department. So I said, would you be willing to come and talk to our English majors about your writing? Because they will love it. Like, it would be amazing. And he was like, sure, I'll come 2 days in a row. And I'm like, what? So, I couldn't tell anyone on campus because it was supposed to be super secret. Like, he didn't want to have any media or upper admin involved. So I was like, okay, so that was a scary couple months just planning his visit. And because I'm a control freak, like, I like to plan for all the worst case scenarios. I was like, there were so many, I couldn't even, So I planned it all. It all went beautifully. He shows up, and then I'm like, do you want me to pick you up from your house? Because I don't know if you still know. It'd been a long time since he'd come to campus. And he was like, no, it's all right. I'll just drive myself, and you can just hop in my car and show me where to park. So I'm like, what? Okay. So he shows up, and he gets out of his car, and he's just immediately puts me at ease. I mean, he's like huge. He's like 6'3". I'm like 5'2". But we like sat down. He just started asking me what I thought about UMaine. Was I happy? How were the students? And then and then it was magic. He went into the classroom, and it was like, he was so generous and open about talking with answering all their questions, and their eyes were just lighting up over their masks. It was just magic. And so that really put me at ease. And I realized this guy is such a mensch. Like, he's so, just so generous. So that by the end of the day one, I felt comfortable enough that it was going to be okay.
Wow.
And then, sorry, my dog is barking. 1 second. Ruffles! Ruffles
is a Pisces too.
Cease and desist.
That
Ruffles
explains
is also a Pisces.
Pisces.
Okay, wait. I did have a question. Oh, so when he walks into class, do the students have any inkling that Stephen King, like, was it like we have a special guest? Or was it just
I had to plan this like months in advance. So I had to swear the students' secrecy. I want to make sure they had read the book because I asked him to talk about Lisey's story because that was that I knew was dearest to his heart. Mm-hmm. And he was developing it into the Apple series at that point. So all the students had to get copies of Lisey's story, read it.
But they didn't know he was coming.
Oh, yeah. No, they knew he was coming. So, no, it was all.
Oh, yeah.
No, this was like.
Maybe like you're sitting in
No,
class
no.
and then,
Surprise!
I never could have gotten them to come otherwise and read a book. Are you kidding? No.
Good point. Yeah, you wouldn't want to miss it.
The students are great, but I wouldn't want to be like just banking on them, maybe deciding that they've got time to come to something.
Good point.
Yeah.
Okay. So, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So, and so then he talked to them. Did he look over any of their writing or anything, or was
No,
it like
it was just straight up Q&A, you know.
Oh, amazing.
But, there were some great exchanges, though, because he is such a hometown guy, you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of our UMaine students are kids from Maine.
Yeah.
You know, and his wife, Tabitha, he met her at UMaine. She was also an English major, and she's a prolific writer in her own right. You know, she's from Old Town, Maine, which is the town right next to Orono where our campus is. And like one of the students was describing how much it meant to her that, you know, because they're also incredibly generous, the Kings. Like they have a foundation and they support everything from fire departments in Maine to libraries to schools. And anyway, so the student was just thanking them for saving like the roof in her Old Town public library. And he was just like, he lit up, you know, and I was like, right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It just felt like this wonderful, magical, you know, like coming home for him, you know, because again, he hadn't been on campus for a long time.
And so then you get access to all of his materials and everything. Mm-hmm. Do you want to talk? I mean, I don't know how much you want to talk about or just like save for the book for people to read.
I mean,
so that's
I'm
up to
happy
you.
to talk. I mean, like, as this is happening, too, it just feels like, what is this train that's like leaving the station that I'm on that I feel like I'm just being brought along on this journey? Because once I met him and then the kismet of having a year and the archives being gathered for the first time and my asking him and them saying yes, I was like, okay, I don't know what's happening, but I'm supposed to be doing this for sure.
Yes.
So it was the night before I was going into the archives for the first day, and I had no idea where I was going to start. I mean, I knew the 5 books I was going to do, but I had no idea what was in there, what was in the archives, and or which book I was going to start with. But I had just found a copy of Pet Sematary, the same edition I'd read in 1983, which has like, Irene's nodding, she knows, it's like Church the Cat's like demonic eyes on it.
And
I was
Tommy
drawn
Knockers. Also demonic eyes.
Oh, also Tommy Knocker. Yeah, it's a fave. So I just started reading it. I was like, well, I don't know. I'll just start reading this the night before. And I'm like in bed. I'm like starting to read it. And then it occurs to me as I'm reading it now, I hadn't read it in 40 years. I was like, oh my God, I am Louis Creed. Because Louis Creed had just moved from a city with his family of 4 to take a job at the University of Maine, which I'd completely passed over me when I was reading it in 1983. I was like, oh my God. Then I realized he's living on the same road that I take when I drive to work, and that the Kings had been renting a house on that same road when Stephen King wrote Pet Sematary. Like he had been inspired to write it on that very road that I take to work. And I was like, okay, well, this is where I'm starting. And so that was my first true woo-woo, like, what is happening, you know? And so day one, I went to the archives, I asked to see the Pet Sematary manuscripts, and it was like this treasure trove of his sticky
I can't
notes,
even imagine.
you know, because it's the 70s. He actually wrote the first draft in 1978. And it's still sticky notes, like there's no laptops or Wang word processors.
Wow.
I mean, the final draft he writes on a Wang word processor in 1982. But, so it's got like his handwritten notes to the copy editor as the copy editor's circling words like, is this the word you meant? And he's like, yeah, that's the word I meant. And he's like, and this is why. I mean, he's so gracious and funny in his responses to the copy editor. He's not an asshole, but he's like, no, this word matters. Like the word clitter, which sounds obscene.
Matters.
Like, I don't want to use clatter. I want to use clitter because it's soft and it's ghostly, you know? So he's thinking about word sounds. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and also, you know, I was reading like the word rattly too, you know,
Yeah,
there was a
rattly.
circle with rattly and it was like, why would you know, because he didn't want it to sound clinical. He wanted to evoke an emotion. And I think that's what it does. He evokes that visceral like fear or, you know, there's like, for example, as a storyteller, you have to tell me. As a movie maker, you have to show me. So words open up this entire world. So I love that he like defended his words, because it's so easy to just give up, because this is, somebody can undermine you or make you feel like, no, you need to use this word. And he really defended his words.
Right. And it's very like synesthetic, he combines all the senses, which became clear that first day. Like my favorite comment he wrote. He's also so freaking well read and literate, which, I knew, but like seeing it in the notes, like he's quoting Ralph Waldo Emerson. I'm like, in his response, I'm like, this is hilarious. And he's quoting like, Captain Kirk and all, it's amazing. But there was a moment where the copy editor had like whited out, King had written SHUH-UH and he's describing Rachel and Lewis are having a fight, and Rachel is upset, and she goes, "You're shouting."
Wow.
And the copy editor had sort of brought it down to like and he's like, no. And he sort of says, "Say it out loud, you'll see."
Wow.
And I love that, because I'm like,
I love it too.
You say it out loud, and you'll see, right? It's like, because reading, of course, that's why I wanted to look at the language, not the movies. Although I talked a little bit about the movies. It's like, because it's this experience in your imagination where you're meeting the writer, right? With, and he writes about this, that books are a uniquely portable magic, and that it's where authors and readers come together in this imaginative space. And for him, it's like full-bodied, all of the sensories.
All of the senses. And also, this also broadens your audience. That's why a 7-year-old girl can read his book and an adult can read his book.
Yeah.
And it has different, it really, everybody has their moments where they're just tapping into something that he's saying at different points in their lives. But because he uses these very unique, specific words that aren't, so over a 7-year-old's head, they're not, so,
They're embodied. It's like you feel it in your body, right? That's what's so cool, because the word horror itself, the etymology is horrere. It's from a Latin word that means to like bristle, have your hair stand on end. And I love that, because it's like, horror is an embodied experience. It's not something that you just comes at you into your eyes and then into your brain. It's like, it's a full, you feel it in your nerves, right? In your scars.
Absolutely.
Yeah, your stomach.
And with a child, like when you were reading it as a 7-year-old, as a latchkey reading books she shouldn't be reading, by the way, from the 70s.
Were you reading it when you were 7? I was 12.
Please. I was watching The Exorcist, too.
Who wasn't? And I was in the movie theater watching Jaws, probably had a cigarette. I mean, like, yeah.
And I feel like these fears really stay with you, because like if you're dealing with like what you were dealing with, you said like childhood trauma with bedtime, like all these crazy fears that children have, or you're an adult and you're reading this book and you're dealing with a certain kind of feel, it's going to trigger you or it's going to resonate with you.
That's so right. You're absolutely right. And that was really interesting when I asked him about the boogeyman, because of course I had to ask him about the boogeyman. And I can't believe I got to hold like the first draft page. I was like, and I said, what were you thinking when you wrote the boogeyman? Which he hates that question, but I like had to ask that for this one. And after a couple, back and forth, he did say, look, I was, because he and Tabitha had 2 very small children at that point, even though he was only 25. And he said, I was really worried about crib death. Ooh, and I thought, okay, so he's coming at it from the perspective, like you're saying, right? You hit it at different times in your life. You're going to have a different fear that it's evoking. And for me, I wasn't worried about my children. I was just worried about being a little kid.
Right, exactly. And wow, that's so deep, and I felt like Pet Sematary kind of had that going on, the fear of losing a child.
Oh my God, that is, of course, grief to the max. Yeah, I mean, that one is the one he wrote a draft in 1978, put it in a drawer, and was like, this is too horrible to see the light of day. I can't let this get published. And he only does it to get out of his Doubleday contract like 4 years later.
Wow.
Yeah. But you're right. That's like the dark, deepest grief, loss. That's one of the things I really came to understand reading through all of these drafts. I was like, oh my gosh, these stories, they aren't about the monsters.
Exactly.
They're about grief and loss,
Caroline,
the fear of loss.
It's so great that you did this. Like, your book is amazing. Seriously.
Oh, thank you so much.
Such important work because it's so much bigger than just even Stephen King.
Yeah.
It's about, it really is important. Honestly, I could be here for days and days talking about it because it's not just about the monsters. It's not just about a zombie coming back from the death. It's about like those deep-seated fears that we have about like losing a child or losing your spouse or, even like in The Shining, the feeling of isolation, the feeling of dread, the feeling of loss, the feeling of writer's block, being stuck.
Yeah, losing your ideals, losing your dreams. I mean, there's so many things that are lost in that story that it's... I mean, I went in there dreading the woman in room 217, which I still do. I mean, she's freaking terrifying. But by the end, I was like, I realized that this was a book about intergenerational trauma in a way that I hadn't realized when I read it when I was a kid. But after talking to him, and also, that's one of the great fun discoveries that I made in that book, like in my research, was getting to read that first draft of The Shining called The Shine, where Wendy's name is Jenny. I mean, it's very different, has a different ending, but it's like, it's a Shakespearean tragedy. Like, he's written it with Roman numeral acts and scene divisions. Like, that's where the Shakespeare piece and the Stephen King piece came together in this super woo-woo way.
Merge.
When I was sitting in the archives, I was like, this is cuckoo.
Here's a fun fact I like to share at cocktail parties. Traditional bed sheets can hold more bacteria than a toilet seat. Wah, wah. Thank you, Debbie Downer. That'll be quite enough of that. I'm here to talk about Miracle Made sheets. And yes, that is a downer of a fact, but Miracle Made is going to solve everything. It's going to solve all your bacterial problems. Well, not all of them, but the ones on your sheets, it's going to solve that. Not exactly what you want to lay your face on, right, Debbie? Be quiet, Debbie. Anyway, Miracle Made bedding is designed to fight bacteria and stay cleaner longer with silver-infused fabrics that actually prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth. That's right. Thanks to their antibacterial silver technology, Miracle Made sheets stay cleaner and fresher up to 3 times longer than regular sheets. That means fewer odors, fewer wash cycles, and way less laundry. All that hidden bacteria in regular sheets, it can clog your pores and cause breakouts. Wah, wah. Miracle Made's antibacterial design helps you sleep cleaner and clearer night after night. But that's not all. Miracle Made sheets are crafted with NASA-inspired silver-infused fabric that regulate your body temperature. Hot sleeper, cold sleeper, doesn't matter. These sheets help keep you in the comfort zone all night long. I can attest to that. Also, they feel just as good, if not better, than sheets you'd find at a 5-star hotel, but without the steep price tag. Smooth, breathable, and ridiculously comfortable. So upgrade your sleep or give the gift of better rest. Go to trymiracle.com/woo to try Miracle Made sheets today. You'll save over 40%. And when you use promo code WOO, you get an extra 20% off. Plus, wait a minute, a free 3-piece towel set? Yes, you heard me correctly. They make an amazing gift. And with a 30-day money-back guarantee, there's no risk. That's trymiracle.com/woo. Use code WOO at checkout. And thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode.
You know, one of the scariest things with The Shining for me, it's one of my favorite Stephen King books, but one of the scariest things is the repetition of all work and all play over and over and over and over and over and over again, because it's so much deeper than just repetition. Repetition is insanity. Insanity is the literal definition of hell. When you are stuck, you are alone. You're literally separated from everything around you, and you're in a loop and you can't get out of it.
You know what I mean?
In a loop. It's so deep.
It is so deep. And I will say, just because I have to say this, so that's not in the book. It's in the Kubrick film. The all work and no play. So that's an interesting example of a film can be really
See, I didn't
powerful.
Read that.
No, but that's because I assumed it was there too. Like, it wasn't until I went back in, because it is so, that film has such a cultural reach, right? That I think people don't know that Jack doesn't freeze in the maze, or that Jack, that those are Kubrick's changes. But that said, I think that's actually very true to the book, that whole like loop and the repetition, all work, no play. I mean, that's clearly did capture what I think King was trying to capture in the book, was that idea of like you get in a word loop, right? And in Danny's case, it's red rum, like for me, actually the biggest terror of that book, which I taught for the first time this fall.
Oh, wow.
Unbelievably, King let me bring my students to his house in Bangor, and he talked to them for an hour about The Shining.
What?
And I was like, what? Stop now. Anyway, it was unbelievable. But it was the first time I'd taught The Shining. And what really hit me, and the students were bringing this up too, is like, Danny doesn't know how to read. Like, he's trying so desperately to read, to learn how to read. Do you remember that? He's 5.
Wow.
And he's trying to teach himself how to read. And I'm like, oh, King captures that like terror of being not yet literate, right? Or not able to perceive things for yourself, because literally reading is going to save his life, right? And save his mother's life. And so for me, I like, oh my God, he captured that horror, which is the same horror of the boogeyman. It's like these 2-year-old kids who can't quite yet tell their mommies and daddy what's in the closet. They're just like pointing at it and screaming, right? It's like, he gets it. He harnesses that horror of being at an age where you can't yet save yourself.
Wow. The vulnerabilities.
The vulnerability.
Wow. That's
which
amazing.
we never lose, right? Vulnerable,
yes.
It just takes a different shape as we get older. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Within Stephen King and your interactions with him and everything.
Yeah.
What else would you want to discuss around that?
So definitely, like when I went back to reread The Shining, which I hadn't done since I was probably 14, in getting ready for this, doing the research on it, I actually had the exact copy I had read at that time. Like I still had that same one.
The
with
silver paperback?
It's the yellow with the Kubrick.
My parents had that on the shelf.
It's based on the Kubrick film poster.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
And there is a silver version, yeah.
Okay.
But it has like the photo inserts from the Kubrick film, like in the middle of it. But I hadn't seen the film when I read it the first time. But when I was reading it again, there was this moment where like Tony, I knew Tony was a factor in The Shining. I remembered that Tony's like this voice that comes to Danny, or sometimes he sees Tony, and Tony's always trying to warn him of things. Like Tony's a good supernatural woo-woo thing. But there's a point where Danny decides he's going to shut off Tony because he's decided he wants to make his daddy happy. And he knows that daddy wants to, in that loop, finish his play. He's actually writing a play in the book. And he doesn't want to make them leave the mountain and leave the overlook. So he's like, not going to listen to Tony. And it just like, all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, because I used to have this ghost that would come to me when I was 5-ish, 6-ish. I think a lot of people, if they access their memories, would remember probably, we know that kids that age are open to those kinds of experiences, but I was terrified of it. And I remember it would keep coming. I couldn't see it, but I could hear it, and it always had the same kind of warning, like sound of these gong, gong, and it was always coming when I was lying in bed, and, and I shared a bedroom with my sister. So it's not like, I don't think this was a memory of a trauma happening to me. It was like because she was there too, but she just never heard this ghost, right? And the ghost would always say like, I am your, and then I would just shut it off because I want to hear it. I got so scared, and then it just stopped coming. And it was when I read The Shining again, I was like, oh my God, I know, right? You shut it out because you don't want to know. You don't want to hear it. Even if it doesn't mean you any ill. I was too scared, and I kind of regret it. And I've tried over the years to try to reconnect in some way, to be like, hey, can you give me a second chance? Or like, I'm ready now. I've got my crystal. But, I think you kind of get a one shot. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know if you all have had that kind of an experience, but it's...
Was that something you saw or just heard?
I just heard it, but... Sometimes I would like sort of see a little bit of like mist. It felt like some little, like something was going to start. But again, I got so scared, I just shut it off. I shut it down. And then it stopped coming. So I don't know what it was trying to tell me.
It could have just been saying you're going to write a book. Don't let anybody.
Listen, when that job comes up, don't let people tell you you're crazy for leaving Boston to go to Maine.
Exactly. Don't let anybody cock block your dream.
That would have been amazing.
You crack me up. One of the things that I loved about you, Caroline, when you were with Stephen King is the fact that he didn't really care for Carrie, which is literally he's not so in love with Carrie anymore, okay?
He never really was, yeah.
He never really was. But to me, it was so ahead of its time in terms of like bullying, in terms of like what's happening with school shootings, in terms about, I don't want to get too crazy, but systemic misogyny and women.
A lot of people wrote really eloquently about this when it had its 50th anniversary.
So it's crazy. But then when you said to him, you said, you should go back and read it. And then I love you. Caroline, I love you for doing that. I love when you said, and I was like, it's like telling, Shakespeare to go back and read. But the reality is, and then you're like, but I'm proud of myself for like allowing that process to happen because then it led to different places. I love that you did that.
Thank you.
And you have to let
thank
yourself.
You so much. Yeah, because that was like that was the last conversation I had with him that was an interview for the book, and I was like, I had a whole set of questions and, I'd gotten to know him over that. It really, by that point, was like a year and a half, 2 years of my working on the book. So I felt comfortable asking him questions. At the same time, I was nervous. Like I still was always a little nervous because even though he's incredibly generous and never was like, you're wrong, you can't say that, or that's, because he's so generous to other writers that he was like, sure, go ahead, write that. Like he was, as long as I wasn't slandering him or anything, he was like very open to how I was interpreting what I was seeing in the manuscripts. But I'm still I'm a really shy person. Like it's not easy for me to have these conversations. So I was like, okay, I really wanted to ask him about Carrie and because I knew he had, he's on the record saying he just doesn't think it's a good book. He thinks it was the work of a young man who didn't know what he was doing or was trying to be something that he wasn't yet.
Yeah, that's what he said, yeah.
Because he was like 24. I mean, Tabby's the one who was like, I can teach you about the teenage girls. Like, if you're worried that you don't know about teenage girls, I'll teach you about the teenage girls. But I was really nervous to be like, because I had just, one of the things I really had explored and I really felt intuitively that I was right about this was that the ending of Carrie is a rewrite of Macbeth, is a rewrite of Macbeth's final speech where he's like, tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. And he's just like, it's nihilistic and it's about what happens when you die. And it's like nothing. Like, it's basically like, right, life is an idiot. A poor player, right? Just spouting off crap, signifying nothing. And that also there's that image of a candle, like, it's just a candle lighting you to dusty death, right? That this whole image of death. And then when I was looking through how he changed the ending of Carrie, which was really significant. I mean, the first draft of Carrie.
I didn't know that. Wow. Until I read.
First of all, Carrie was like an alien in the early draft. She was totally
Armageddon, like you said.
She's Armageddon. I mean, he used that word. I mean, like, she's like an alien bent on destroying the world. Like, you don't feel badly for her at the end. But by the end, by the time he revised her for publication, the Carrie we all know, like the final scene, I don't know if you remember when Sue is like seeing her dying. And in the original version, Carrie's head has become like this giant alien brain sack and it like explodes. And so Sue just goes running away and she's just terrified. And she's like, I'm never going to forget that. This is horrible. So horror is like this alien brain sack exploding.
Wow.
But when he revises it, the horror is that she has to experience death with Carrie. Like, she mind melds with Carrie and Carrie like doesn't let go. And she has to experience what it feels like to die. And what she sees is like this candle going down this corridor and then just going out into nothing. And all of his prose at that ending, it's so Macbeth. And that was something I was confident he wouldn't have remembered or been tuned into because he hadn't reread Carrie. And that's when I was like, you should probably reread. I really think you should reread Carrie because the ending is Macbeth. And that, again, I was like, who am I to say that? Like, Jesus. But you know what? We ended up having a great conversation about it. And then that woo-woo moment that happened. I don't want to give away at the very end of the book. In the end of that conversation, something took over. And it was like Shakespeare and Stephen King and me, like for like this brief moment, had just like gone into some kind of portal together. Like it was I don't use woo-woo lightly. Like I actually do believe these things do happen sometimes, and you got to pay attention to them. And that was one of those moments.
I'm always talking about how to maximize my sleep because, I need everything just so, right? So one thing to consider is the light coming in from your windows. You need to be sleeping in a completely dark room. Did you know this? Well, I'm here to tell you it's true. It's 2026. Are your blinds still from 2006? There's a better way to buy blinds, shades, shutters, and drapery, and it's called 3-Day Blinds. They're the leading manufacturer of high-quality custom window treatments in the U.S. And right now, if you use my URL, 3dayblinds.com/woo, they are running a buy one, get one half off deal. If you're like me at all, well, I'm not very handy. I mean, hopefully you are handy, but most of us, what's really hard? Measuring something just so. Whew. I'm really bad at that. Anyway, DIY projects, sure, they can be fun, but measuring and installing blinds, huge challenge. The expert team at 3-Day Blinds handles all the heavy lifting. They design, measure, and install, so you can sit back, relax, and leave it to the pros. And you know what else sounds amazing to me? You can make them smart with Alexa. So you can just say, Alexa, open the blinds. You can order your Alexa to open your blinds. Like you're living in the lap of luxury. Alexa, open my blinds, please. There, that can be you, right? With 3-Day Blinds, you choose from thousands of options to fit any budget or style. Plus, with 3-Day Blinds, you choose from thousands of options that fit any budget or style. From light filtering and blackout blinds, that's what I need, to motorization and smart blinds, like I just said. 3-Day Blinds is a real upgrade to your home. And right now, get quality window treatments that fit your budget with 3-Day Blinds. Head to 3dayblinds.com/woo for their buy one, get one 50% off deal on custom blinds, shades, shutters, and drapery. For a free, no charge, no obligation consultation, head to 3dayblinds.com/woo. One last time, that's buy one, get one 50% off when you head to the number 3, DAY, blinds.com/woo. You're going to sleep so much better.
My other kind of woo-woo moment around this book and this whole part of my journey as an academic was that when I was getting ready for my final job interview for this position, which meant coming to campus, giving a job talk. I was working on a book at the time called Cognition and Girlhood in Shakespeare's World. Like I had been studying how girls' brains worked or how people believed girls' brains worked in Shakespeare's day. I'd been doing that research for like 8 years and I just sort of finished the book. And I was like, you know what, maybe I should throw in a little Stephen King for the job talk, even though that's not a requirement that you're a Stephen King specialist. I'll just like throw it in. And I was like, I think Carrie might be a good place to go. Like I hadn't read Carrie in 40 years, but I was like, I'm pretty sure there's some cool stuff about teenage girls and brains in that. And I open up the book, like I literally take it off the shelf because I still had it. Open the book, and the first page it falls to is where he describes Carrie coming home after the horrible menstruation incident, and her brain is starting to flex, like she's starting to have her telepathic powers come to life. And literally he says she felt it, mental puberty. And I was like, well, that's my whole book is mental puberty. That's my whole argument, is that when girls hit puberty in Shakespeare's day, their brains were imagined to have all these gifts, you know, not just pathological ones. And that really opened a portal for me, like when I started doing the research for this book about, like, I'm going to take a look at Carrie's brain, like how it changes, you know, as he's revising her. Like in the first draft, when she gets her period, she just like becomes like, she's just like using her brain power to just do destruction. But in the revision, do you remember there's that scene where she starts to have memories about her how her mother tried to kill her when she was 3? Mm-hmm. Like it's the one with the rocks coming, the big stones falling.
Yes.
She had forgotten that, but that her brain had been activated, her memory had been activated so that she could access those traumatic memories, which is something I had noticed during Shakespeare's day too, like what they thought girls' memories could do when they, you know, when their brains started sparking.
And how they treated women, you know, in those periods of times, you know, a lot of the times they would send women in one island, they would congregate together and menstruate together because they thought that they were insane. Like the way they still treat women with menopause, how menopause isn't real, you know, like all these ongoing similarities, you know, it's crazy. And I always joke that The Exorcism was about puberty.
No, it's not a joke. I mean, that's for real. Like, Regan is, you know, she's on the verge.
Oh, you're right. And then look what happens to her. She gets possessed.
I know. Well, how about, do you remember Audrey Rose?
Audrey Rose is one of my favorites. Oh my gosh.
Wait, what's Audrey Rose?
Oh my God. It was written around the same time, I think.
So
it was like
brilliant.
that era of, I mean, I think I only watched that. I didn't read it, but that's about another 12-year-old girl who's about to get her period, and she gets like, she's reincarnated.
Rachel, you would love it. She dies in a car crash and gets reincarnated into another family, but starts reliving that memory of burning alive in the car.
So the girl who's the reincarnation of Audrey Rose, I think, right?
Yes.
Is like, keeps putting her hands against the glass at night and like her hands are burning. And it's like, So this is like a tale as old as time. It's like these girls
yes, exactly,
hitting puberty, and all of a sudden their brains just like are able to access
to do things, you know?
and do all this stuff. But it tends to get pathologized. And what I was really interested in is like, it's not just pathology. It's like they're really inventive. They're really creative. They're really able to access memories other people aren't willing to remember, you know? Like Ophelia. Like Ophelia to me is a hero. Like I don't think she's crazy. I think she just knows that's the only way people are going to pay attention to her. But like she walks on stage and she's like, where is the beauteous majesty of Denmark? It's like, hey, everyone's forgotten. I'm here. I remember, you know? So anyway, I get really passionate about this stuff. But
as you should. It's amazing. It's amazing.
So if you had your class to Stephen King's in the fall, it sounds like you're still in touch with him, or and with this book coming out, like, is he? I mean, he must be excited about this. Like, what's the current sitch with him?
The current sitch. I mean, you know, I like to give him his privacy because I don't want to be like hot. You know, like from the beginning of this project, I never wanted him to think in any way I was just exploiting him or like using him to get fame or whatever it was. Like, I just really wanted to I think that's why he trusted me to do this, is he understood that I'm just passionate about the language, about how he crafted this. And I really feel like he hasn't gotten his due in that way, especially from academia, you know? And I was like, you know what?
Yes.
You're an incredible craftsperson and the world needs to know this. And, you know, some people do, but not enough. So, you know, I've given him, you know, if he wants to say something great, and he did, which was amazing. He did read the whole book. He said he really loved it. And then he did put on social media last week that it was, he said it was the best book about his process he'd ever read. And I'm like, I can die now. Like, this is unbelievable.
I know. Sweetie, that's amazing.
Felt so gratifying. I was like, oh my God, like that means the world to me. Like, because not just because it helps sell books, but because it's like,
Stephen King.
I got it right. You know, like, like I hit something that felt authentic to him. And that was so powerful for me, you know, especially as an academic who's been writing these books for decades.
Incredible.
That have sort of a limited kind of reach. And I felt like, and again, Shakespeare, it's not like Shakespeare's going to portal down, although maybe he will. Maybe Shakespeare will portal down and be like, you got that right about Ophelia. You know? Or he'll be like, what are you talking about? That's not at all what I meant. Ophelia was batshit crazy. You know, but to have that really meant the world to me.
Amazing.
Well, also, I think it's interesting that you're teaching him in an academic situation, because I think, you know, at our age, we still have the thing of like, here's, you know, the canon of what should be taught. Meanwhile, time goes on, new books are written. And like, what is like worthy of being studied and what isn't? And like, you know, the fact that you could pick up a Stephen King book in an airport bookstore, so is your whole course on Stephen King, or was he part of a course? Or
this was a course called American Ghost Stories. Which was so fun. I'd never taught it before, and I just created it or what. I mean, I'm sure I know other people have courses like this, but I was like, I'm going to pick all my favorite ghost story books, you know?
Wow.
So and ones that I knew had been speaking to each other. So we started with The Haunting of Hill House, which is just brilliant. Shirley Jackson. And great. Stephen King often references Shirley Jackson. And we ended with Northwoods by Daniel Mason.
Northwoods. I have that sitting here on my shelf.
The students were obsessed with that book, and I'm obsessed with that book. I mean, it's just brilliant, kind of like eco-horror meets magical realism meets, like, it's funny. It's like, it's just a brilliant ghost story. And it's about
that book.
America.
That book's number is up, sweetie. She's dancing on the shelf. She's dancing on the shelf.
I have a question. So you did Haunting of Hill House, Stephen King.
Yeah.
And what other?
We did Beloved.
Beloved. Okay. Yes. Toni Morrison.
We did some Louise Erdrich stories.
Yes.
We did Our Missing Hearts. I don't know if you know that book, Our Missing Hearts by Celeste Ng. That's one of my recent favorites too.
Oh, Celeste Ng. Okay.
Yeah, it's just gorgeous. So we're sort of looking like, what purpose do ghosts serve? Like, right? And it's not just one thing, and it's not the same in every cultural tradition, right? So that's why I was trying to read a lot of different cultural traditions in the class. Like, America is made up of a lot of different diverse traditions, and ghosts are being used in different ways, or they represent different.
You're really upping our academic standing here on
really are.
by saying that there is a college course on ghost stories. I love this because I don't think we've addressed this from an academic standpoint, Irene.
No, not at all.
Did you, in your curriculum there, did you include any like really old ghost stories, or was it all?
I could have. I thought about it. I was like, I went back to all the kind of old ones, and like we did start with the Fall of the House of Usher. We did.
I love that. Yeah, that's a good one.
Story.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't want to go too far back, actually. I was like, because I did want to make sure I was approaching it from a multicultural perspective, And if you start with sort of the old classics, it's all the same old white dudes.
Or they're spoken tradition, like lore.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. Gotcha.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, that's so cool, too, right? Because they almost are all based in oral traditions. And that's another thing that I think when I'm thinking about Stephen King and why his stories endure is like because he's thinking of how it's going to sound, right, in the reader's ear. Mm-hmm. That was a conversation we had too. Like he's thinking about that. Like it's these horror stories, these ghost stories are based in oral traditions. So if the words aren't sticking in your head, like Shakespeare, right? Shakespeare was writing in an oral, like he's writing for the stage, right? He's writing for his words to be heard, not read. So I think that's why there's a lot of overlap. A lot of echoing.
Right. Yes. So true.
Yeah.
Well, I feel smarter now.
Me too. I know. When do we get to the tarot readings?
This is amazing.
I have a question. One question about the whole Shakespeare of it all. Like, so your podcast, Everyday Shakespeare, with Michelle Ephraim, so you and I have all these connections that I won't go into because it's too boring for the listener. But it would be interesting. We could do like an entire episode on Shakespeare woo-woo.
Shakespeare woo-woo.
But if you want to just give us like, what would like a headline, I don't know, Toil and Trouble, I don't know. What would be like the woo-woo-y Shakespeare headliner that we could talk about here for a second?
I'm going to go with, this is the epigraph to my book, is present fears are less than horrible imaginings, which is what Macbeth says when he gets the witches encounter him. Like at first I was going to call the book Horrible Imaginings, and then my agent was like, you can't call it that. I'm like, oh, all right, but I love it. Okay. But anyway, but that idea of like, I love that because it's so evocative of like that moment when Macbeth, and whenever I teach Macbeth, I'm always telling my students, I'm like, the witches are like the red herring. The problem is that's not what's scary. What's scary is what Macbeth is imagining in his own head, which is killing the king, which he came up with all on his own. I mean, maybe his wife pushed him a little, but like that's his own horrible imagining is like, I can get to the crown faster if I kill the king. And that's what shakes his body. Well, like when he describes his hair standing on end and he's shaking and his heart's thumping against his ribs, it's because of what's in his head. It's his horrible imaginings. And I thought that's exactly why horror does what it does. It's not about the monster. It's not about the vampire, right? It's about your confrontation with yourself and your deepest fears, right? And your deepest, like, who am I as a human and when have I stepped beyond humanity, So
and what you're capable of.
What you're capable of.
Wow.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. Like you go back to the boogeyman story. You know who's the monster in that story is the father. It's Lester Billings. Because he's the one who's like, doesn't let his kids come into their bedroom at night because he's like, don't be sissies. He doesn't give them a nightlight. And then the last kid, Andy, he's such a coward because by then he thinks the boogeyman's true. And he's right. He's like, leaves his little kid as a decoy. Like, he's the freaking monster in the house. It's Lester Billings is just a shitty father.
He's a shitty father. Exactly.
And Rita, the mother, is just weak. Right? She just like can't stand up to him.
Exactly. And how damaging that is. And again, that it's in the DNA, that trauma just continues, right? That's crazy.
Yeah.
I think any good writer, which is a brilliant writer, will have that kind of an element, like even with Stephen King, when I was reading some of his books, every time he vilifies the town, or he has a love-hate relationship with the town. But like even Maine, when you think about Maine, how it's close-knit, they can hold secrets. And I was telling Rachel, it kind of reminds me of like the Catholic Church, where it's a sacred space, and how they're abusing children. And then there's a cover-up about it, like that whole, like there's like a good and a bad. There's good because there's intimacy. But what happens when intimacy becomes immoral and it's unchecked?
Oh my God, that's beautiful right there. That's the headline.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the town knows darkness. The town has its secrets and it knows how to keep them, right? And that town can be, like you're saying, any community that's close-knit like that. One more woo-woo story that's interesting is that, Stephen King came up with the idea for The Shining when he was staying at the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado, and he had a dream. He was staying in room 217 with Tabitha, and he had a dream that Joe, their oldest son, was being chased through the corridors of the hotel by a fire hose.
I'm literally getting chills.
And then he woke up and he was like, I think I know what my next book is.
I'm literally getting chills.
And then when I was looking at the drafts, there was a whole like long sequence of the fire hose chasing Danny in the first draft. And he just ended up cutting it. But I'm like, but it's still the origin story for how he came up with this, right? And again, that's a real life fear. Like my child is going to be harmed, right?
By a fire hose. Which to me is not that scary, but the way he writes it. It is when you're married to a fireman, like me. Very scary.
Oh my gosh. Right? So it's hitting you in a totally different way.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love dreams as creative origins. Like that's really fascinating to me when people get ideas from that. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yep, I'm talking about sleep again, but it's so important. I mean, how are you going to access your loved ones from beyond the veil if you can't dream? How are you going to astral project to the moons of Jupiter? I mean, look, I'm just talking basic facts here, right? You need your sleep. And you know what's going to help you with that? A Blissy silk pillowcase. Silk is naturally cooling and breathable. And my dermatologist even recommended a silk pillowcase for healthier skin. I know. This isn't just me talking. This is a certified doctor. That's right. With Blissy silk pillowcases, you'll see healthier skin and hair in weeks. Silk has anti-aging properties, reduces fine lines and wrinkles over time, and its naturally hydrating silk fibers keep skin moisturized all night. And what I love most, silk is naturally cooling. You always have the cool side of the pillowcase. But also, there's more. Blissy silk pillowcases are fully machine washable. They come in over 100 colors with new Wicked and Harry Potter designs. And for the woo-woo person that you are or in your life, the Zodiac collection. That's right. Now I don't have to just be a sextuple Pisces. I can sleep on it too. I don't know what that means, but I'll figure it out later. More of your Zodiac energy right there while you sleep. They make a practical and loved gift for birthdays, bridal showers, anniversaries, and more. Because you're a listener, Blissy is offering 60 nights risk-free plus an additional 30% off when you shop at blissy.com/woopod. That's BLISSY.com/woopod and use code woopod to get an additional 30% off. Your skin and hair will thank you. Did you want to talk about other woo-woo things like that are in your life, or that's optional?
I mean, I am just I will say, I think because I didn't grow up with organized religion, like my parents my father's Jewish, my mom's Lutheran. Like, they were like, by the time they had kids, they were like, we can't figure it out. Just whatever. We'll do nothing. Which, fine, But I guess I've always been very open to other kinds of ways of thinking about spirituality. So I definitely, I love me a good psychic. Like, there aren't many of them, but there are some. In fact, I went to one in Los Angeles because my sister lives out in LA, and I was like in my early 20s. And I swear, I still have the tape, like it's a cassette tape.
Yep.
She has predicted everything. And I tried to find her again, and I couldn't. Like, she's like disappeared. It was phenomenal. She especially talked about someone named Steve, who was going to be really important in my life, which granted is a common name, but still. And like everything she said has come true. Like,
what else did she say? I mean, Steve, that's huge.
Steve, she talked about like how I was going to move, how I was going to meet my husband, and we were going to live in 2 different places and go back and forth and figure it out. And, I hadn't even met my husband yet, but we did end up having a long distance marriage because we're both academics and we were living in 2 different cities. And then she talked about, you're going to be teaching teachers how to teach. She didn't even know anything about what I did, but this is exactly what I ended. So anyway, there were so many things. I'd have to go back and look. I hope I could still play the cassette tape and it hasn't like unraveled or like gotten so dusty, but so I'm definitely a believer in that if you can find a good one,
I know there's a lot of fakers out there.
There are a lot of fakers.
There are, yeah.
And I have a fantastic woman in Cambridge, Massachusetts, who is kind
Field trip.
A medium,
Really?
She says some pretty amazing things.
Wait, question.
Yeah.
Medium. Did she contact someone from the beyond
So
for you?
no,
or?
she did. I mean, she just sort of tapped into angels and things like that, but she did say some things that were pretty powerful that spoke to me. And my favorite place to go is Sedona. If I can get to Sedona, to Boynton Canyon. I don't know if you've ever been there.
No, I haven't. Have you, Irene?
No.
That's your field trip.
I know, it's like so woo-woo.
Yeah, it's the best.
The only field trip we did was we did Salem, Mass, and that was really fun.
That was a lot of fun.
We talked to a witch expert there, two experts.
Actually,
but
great show.
Sedona's definitely on the list. But tell us about what your experience was.
So Sedona, I mean, I go to this particular like over-the-top spiritual spa that is like unbelievable because I'm like, well, I don't want to go to Kripalu and like I want to be able to drink and like enjoy myself and get a massage and get some of the spiritual stuff. So that's this place that I go to in Sedona called Miamo.
Okay.
And it's like you can get like a psychic massage where like the masseuse is tapping into things that are happening to you as you're getting a massage. I mean, it's really like...
I'm all over that.
You can do past lives regression, which I have tried, but unfortunately, I don't know if it's that ghost that I stopped listening to and I got like boxed out of the past lives thing, but I never am able to see a single past life. So have you done it?
She tried. I haven't. It didn't work for... You tried it, Irene, at that workshop.
The past life regression with Brian Weiss, but it was at a workshop with a lot of people.
Group.
Yeah,
I've never tried it. I'm curious.
I mean, I didn't see a thing. I didn't see a thing, and I was like, crap, I'm totally open.
I feel like that would happen to me and I wouldn't see anything.
Meanwhile, my sister went and she's like, oh, yeah, I was a Native American. Then I was a Victorian lady dying of tuberculosis. And then I was like, God damn. I didn't even get like a glimpse of my foot in a sandal or anything.
You know, like Cleopatra.
Yeah, exactly.
The go-to. Everyone could be
Everyone's
Cleopatra.
Everybody's always Cleopatra. Listen, you found your ghost in that psychic. I think she came back and told you everything that you shut down.
I know. I really need to go find that.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to that cassette in like 8 years. I think I still have a cassette player somewhere. So yeah.
Okay, so Sedona, Irene, we got to put this on our list.
We really
I like
have
this
to
idea
go.
of a psychic massage.
Yes.
As like, I mean, it doesn't sound more woo-woo than that, but
right.
I do think there's something, I mean, there's something to people that can,
releasing.
I mean, even I've heard of just, regular massage. I don't know, they can detect like, where you're holding your tension and like what that means. And this sounds like one step beyond that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. We have to do it. And it makes so much sense because if you have like, say you get really upset about something and your neck cringes up and you develop a ball there, then that moment of tension for that reason, when your mother yelled at you, is a ball that you have to go in and release. Yeah. It makes such sense. It's not woo-woo is pragmatic. hypnotic. Yeah.
It is. Woo-woo, the whole thing about embodiment, right? Like everything, all of our deepest emotions are going to be registered in our bodies.
Exactly.
From horror to trauma to
everything.
The body keeps the score.
Body
Always.
keeps the score.
Like the book
That's
says.
right.
Well, you should go to this place.
The more I learn about that, the more I firmly believe it. And the more I notice, like, not only bad things, but I notice the older I get, the good thing. Like, when I feel like, oh, this is a good decision, or oh, I feel good about this, like I feel it, and it's like a detector.
Yeah,
or like
beautiful.
I don't want to do this, and my body's like, I'm like, even if it's something little, I'm not talking about giant trauma, capital T. I just mean like, oh, should I take this job or whatever? Like you can kind of feel like, how am I going to feel that morning, and it becomes more of a helper for you to be in touch with that.
That's a beautiful point, Rachel. Oh my gosh, I love that because I love the word helper. Instead of looking at as like existential dread of some sort, I'm feeling dread. No, you have a little tiny helper. Okay,
you do.
Okay, and that little helper is going to. Rachel, I love that, and it's a good memory. And I actually called Rachel, and I was like, I said I wasn't going to do something because it felt bad, and I was paying attention to my body. Right there, I was like. You did this, my little helper, but I love helpers,
I
sweetie.
love that. And
Me
if you
too.
take it, like I think of it as like my posse of guardian spirits too. Like they'll come and they'll send me what I need to know. So like every day I pull a tarot card. I do have my tarot. Yeah.
So you're serious about the tarot.
I am serious about the tarot. Like it's the way that I've come to realize that's how the spirits, I think everyone has a way that spirits will come to you, whether it's a dream or whether it's like just a feeling.
Absolutely.
And for me, it's the cards. And so I always pull a card every day and I do a little, I don't know if it's an incantation, but I call them in, and I like always get mantra. That same beautiful feeling of like my body just tingling. And I'm like, this is real. Like, this is real.
Okay,
Sorry.
I have two questions.
Sorry, doubters. It's real.
It is real.
One is, what did you pull a card today?
Yeah.
What was it? Like, what could you tell us your interpretation?
I got the 8 of Wands, which is a great. So for me, the wand, and everyone reads the cards differently. Like for me, the wands are the intuition and creativity and spirituality, and the 8 is like they're moving forward. They're like. So to me, this made sense. This came up doing
That's
the
a very good card. And 8 is also the number of success and infinity, by the way.
Oh,
so you unpack
I did not
that.
know.
8, success.
I will unpack that.
This pod is going to sell millions of books for you.
It is.
You hear that, listeners?
That's right.
Monsters in the Archive. Go buy it.
Go buy
immediately.
It. Yeah.
Okay. So I was gonna ask you. Oh, wait, with this tarot thing, like, how did it start for you? Like, have you always been?
I've always been like tarot curious, and like I've had interesting tarot readings. But then during COVID, I was like. Like all of us looking for something. I don't like to bake, so I wasn't going to make bread. Yeah. But I was like, you know what? Maybe it's a good time to take like an online tarot course or something. So I took this online. It was through Biddy Tarot. She was great. And it was like, seemed low stakes. I could commit enough time to it each day. It's not like I had anything else to do. And it just like the best lesson she gave, because I had been like studying tarot books and like trying to memorize what each card meant. And she just sort of said, it wasn't to me, it was an online course, to record it and everything. But she was like, let go of the books. Just let the cards speak to you and tell them what they're going to say to you. And once I did that, I was like, it just kind of came. And it's been my go-to like channel ever since.
And that's a really great way for a reader to be, period. Because I feel like if you let the cards speak to you and you're connected and you seem like a very open person, obviously, given the book that you wrote and the relationship you have with Steve, sweetie. So the fact that you can just, connect to people, that's it. I think I feel the same way about the cards.
Yeah. And that's how I felt about his manuscripts too. Like, because when I went in, I was like, I'm not going to go in with an intentional, like, this is what I'm looking for. And I always tell my students, like, don't go into a book or anything thinking this is what I'm looking for. You're going to miss everything,
Ooh, I like that.
And so like when I went in there, I was like, I had zero plan other than just letting the manuscripts, it's going to sound woo-woo, but that's okay. speak
This
to
is the
me.
place.
Like, just
Speak
let
to you.
them tell
Absolutely.
me what they wanted me to
Yes.
see, you know? And I
Love
really
that.
feel like that from day one with like, it's going to be Pet Cemetery, my friend. Like, that's where you're starting. Like, that
And
was
you
the
knew.
foundation for everything, you know?
I love
just
that.
Think about the palimpsest, you have experiences that we have when we return to horror at different
Wait, I
times
need
in
that
our
word
lives.
again. Thinking about the word.
Palimpsest.
Excuse me?
I know.
I've been on this earth for
It's
a
a
long
good
time,
one.
and I've never heard that.
palimpsest. It's a great word.
Can you spell that
Yep.
and use it in a sentence, please?
Yep.
Yes.
Palimpsest.
Palimp, yes.
Yeah.
Palimpsest.
Okay.
And
I'm
it's
gonna
like
have
a
to write that down.
layering.
Palimpsest.
It's a
I'm trying it
layering.
on. A
Yeah.
layering.
Yeah. So you'll have like a palimpsest of memories, right?
Palimpsest is so much better
Isn't that a great
than
word?
layering, and we shall never forget it. And we'll be using that
Right.
in a restaurant. I'm
And
sorry. I'd
cocktail
like my
parties.
sandwich
I mean, look, this is
palimpsest.
why I get paid the big bucks as an English teacher, okay?
Yeah, I love it. I love your laugh too, by the way, while we're on the subject here. Okay?
I'm still on palimpsest.
Palimpsest.
Which is different from a polyp, which is
Okay,
that's
yes.
a whole other thing.
That is a whole other thing.
Also, I want to say that, like, I always like to think about this, and I've been thinking about this recently because I haven't seen a ghost and I haven't seen my guides. I feel like you guys have both seen ghosts, but also your intuition can be your little ghost too. You know what I mean? So, you know, when something is saying to you, it's like a voice that's internal, your intuition is a ghost, and that is woo-woo.
And I love this because the way you approach the manuscripts and
Yep.
just listening to, like, being open, basically. That's what woo-woo is. Being open to your feelings, the little helper, if you will, and just whatever vibes,
helper
spirits,
is
whatever you want to
beautiful.
call it, in a creative process.
Yes.
Or in a decision or whatever, going
Exactly.
about your life. Like, it's always a good reminder. We know this, but we forget it because we're on
Yeah.
our phones and I get out of touch with my
Yes,
intuition.
yes. I do
unless
too.
I'm
Yeah.
vigilant.
We all do.
Yeah.
We all do. This is why I love this show, because right now I wish we were together so I could give you guys a hug and a kiss on the lips even. That's
kiss
right.
on the lips?
I said it. Right on the lips. And here's the other thing. I want you to stick around, because I'm getting the marshmallows and we're breaking out the guitar. Okay?
Oh, okay.
Come on.
Can we do that
Telling
stiff,
a ghost
that
story.
stiff as a
light
butt,
as a
flat
feather,
as a
light as a feather, stiff as a board.
Light as a board.
Yes.
And that worked too. That worked.
That worked too.
That did work.
Because
Why?
we were in sync.
And
No
you know
one
what? Those are preteen brains, girls all getting together.
That's right. Oh,
Preteen
girl.
brains.
You just hit on something.
Oh, I wish we were all going to be in Maine. So I do this improv show in Maine, but I can't do it this summer. But 2 summers ago, Caroline and I met up with our mutual friend, Sonia.
Sanj.
And I wish we were going to Maine again this summer.
I know, me
and then we
too.
could go crash Steve's house too.
Okay. I love Steve. I'll be like, he'll be like, don't bring that bitch. What's her name?
No, Irene
Don't
and
bring
I,
her.
Irene and I are going to go yell at the window, Steve! We know Steve! We're friends with Caroline. All right, so
man.
I know we're running out of time, but to
So
wrap
fun.
it up, did you want your pendulum reading, Caroline, from Irene?
Of course.
Irene? Okay.
Are you kidding?
It's a yeah. Are you kidding? So it's a yes or no question.
Okay. I'm scared because I kind of don't want to know the answer. So I think I got to find one that's not as
Okay,
intense.
think on this.
Okay. I'm going to think. Okay. I got it.
Okay, you do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Rachel?
I'm already getting an answer. Though I've
Me
I've
too.
sat out.
I got one
because
too.
I got a yes.
Yes.
I got like a yes before
I
you
got a
even.
yes right
It was
away, too.
swinging
It's a
wildly
resounding.
too. Swinging wildly.
Look at how we're saying at the same time, wildly resounding. We're both getting crazy yeses. What is it? You're
It was,
beaming.
will I ever get to live in California again? So I'm thrilled.
Oh, it's like
Yes.
going really. It's wildly swinging.
I was like, we haven't started yet.
All right.
It
I
was
love
a
it.
yes.
I
All
was
right.
going to ask if my book was going to make it to the bestseller list, but I'm too scared. I don't want to see a no. So I'm just going to let I'm also it's not.
Well,
it's not
I'm
good
just
to
going to
do.
Mine
tell you
says
that it
yes.
went. Mine says yes. Mine
Okay.
says yes. And I wouldn't have said anything if it didn't.
Okay,
but
all right,
it
thank
does
you.
say
But it
yes.
did say
Thank you,
yes.
ladies. That is like the best
So
gift
let's
you could
seal
give me.
it up with that.
Seal it up. I'm
And-
heading to California.
That's right.
Caroline, thank you so much again for
So
the
fun.
80th
So
time.
fun.
The book is called Monsters in the Archive. Is there an audio version too? Just curious.
So I actually got to record the audiobook, which was amazing. It was so fun.
First-hand experience. Okay, now this would be cool to listen to the audio because you're the one walking in to see everything. So that would be really cool.
I said to my editor, I was like, please, I really want to be the one to read my book.
Very cool.
And he was like, sure, it should be you. So I'm like, yay.
Awesome.
So that was really magical too, getting to orally narrate the story, right? Yeah.
All right. So Monsters in the Archive, books of Stephen King. They're all spread out for you with the academic and fan eye. The fan eye and the academic eye.
And I will say, if anyone's in New York, I'm doing an event on April 23rd at the Twisted Spine bookstore with Nat Cassidy, in conversation with Nat Cassidy, who's a brilliant horror writer.
Okay.
April 23rd, the Twisted Spine, Brooklyn, New York.
Amazing. Okay, good. Because this will come out before then. Yes, it will.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And Everyday Shakespeare, your pod.
Everyday Shakespeare podcast with Michelle Ephraim.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. I had a blast. Thank you for having me.
And you can find me on Instagram at @RayDratch. That's RAE Dratch. And you can find Irene at Irene Bremis. That's BREMIS Bremis. And thanks for listening. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the world of woo-woo. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Woo-woo with Rachel Dratch is a Q-Code production. Executive produced by David Henning and Steve Wilson. Produced by Alexa Gabrielle Ramirez. Edited by Will Tendy.